looking round for a butt buffet?
I love food. I love eating food. Whether it's hot or it's cold, I'm in the mood. Got stuff in my ass, that's true. It's not grass, it's fruit. I got a butt buffet.
Hello and welcome to episode 1 from Chubby Cheese. I'm Craig.
And I'm Bailey.
And we are starting a podcast off, so welcome into Chubby Cheese, America's fattest food chain.
Now, Craig, I think it might help if they understood what Chubby Cheese is.
Chubby Cheese is the most glorious place you can eat inside of the United States of America. You know, you've been to places like Chuck E. Cheese, right?
Of course.
Okay, and then, you go in there, they got the ball pit, and they got the games, and they got the Happy Mouse, Chubby Cheese is more so for the heavier American.
The heavier American.
One with a portly undercarriage.
Ah, somewhere with ample bus parking.
Absolutely. And you go there, and immediately when you enter the parking lot, they're knocking on your window, shoving a sandwich in your face, asking if you want salad, then laughing because they know that you don't want the salad.
I mean, I don't know about you, but that kind of sounds like heaven to me.
And when you get inside, they're like mob bosses. And they're like, hey, what do you think you're doing here? And then they're very mean.
So I'm going to go and pay for you to give me lots of food and be angry at me?
The people are upset that you're there. They're overweight. They're not happy. And they're going to make fun of the overweight people that come in there. It's a beautiful place.
Okay. Well, I don't know about you, but to me that sounds like quite the setting to sit down in the evenings and have a chat about random topics.
I love sitting down inside Chubby Cheese because, you can see the little, not little, you can see the big kids get stuck inside the ball pit because the door's too small to get in. It's really a wonderful place to be in. But while we're here, why don't we talk about something today?
Okay. What do you want to talk about?
What movie have you seen lately?
Well, just recently went to go see Deadpool and Wolverine.
That is a good movie.
I highly recommend it.
It's fantastic. It's probably one of my favorite Marvel movies.
Yeah, what I enjoyed about this, which of course, I'm sure most people have heard about the behind the scenes about Ryan Reynolds pushing for the Deadpool movie and really wanting to get Wolverine in on it. So it's something that was long awaited, and I felt like it was such a good payoff because you could genuinely see how much fun they were having on set, and also you could just see the love for the comics there and not just, what's portrayed on the screen, but also, the different versions and the way it was meant to be, the different universes, if you will.
The opening scene, whenever Deadpool's up there. Spoiler alert! If you haven't seen the movie, I'm sure you'll have seen the movie by the time you hear this. The opening scene is just ridiculous. He goes in there and digs up Logan.
Oh my God, I know. And whenever I was watching that, I was sitting there thinking, they're not going to undo Logan. Surely they're not going to undo Logan because that was such a beautiful movie in and of itself.
And see, we had heard about where they were talking about behind the scenes where they had talked to the director of Logan and it's like, hey, we want to do this movie, but in a way that kind of respects yours and, doesn't undo what you did.
Right.
And so whenever he starts digging up the body, I was thinking, oh no, what are they doing? And I thought they were going to leave it right there. I thought they were going to be done. And then, no, he pulls the skeleton out, and he's sitting next to a tree.
Oh, my
gosh. Skeleton.
Whenever he starts hitting the metal and he gets angry and just starts going, da, 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 and banging on it, I about lost it. Oh. And then he pulls that arm off and waves. Oh, I loved it so much.
My favorite part in that is whenever he pulls that guy's leg off to the beat of the NSYNC's Bye Bye Bye.
Which, let's be honest, Bye 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 is truly the star of the opening.
That dance, I've looked up the dance about 4 times just to rewatch him.
I know,
doing it.
That's amazing. And, I feel like this song, as well as just the soundtrack for the movie, it just sets a tone for the audience. Like, because you know who the target audience is and what they want. And so pulling out all of these, like, great tracks from, our younger years was a really fun way to do the movie. and opening up with bye, bye, bye. Like, I mean, that just tells you everything you need to know right there.
I mean, it was fantastic. And then whenever we get from there and we go into the scenes where we're finding the different Wolverines. Mm-hmm. And so...
Now, you picked up on this more than I did.
Oh, yeah. So they have... Wolverine pops out in his brown suit.
Right.
Which is the first time... Oh, is it the first time he fought Hulk? Not the first time, but he definitely... I don't know if it is the first time. I'll have to look it up. But he definitely fought Hulk. There's a famous cover where his claws... You see the reflection of Hulk in the claws, and they did that on the screen. And it was cool to see that small cameo of Hulk there, too. And then you get to see the Weapon X. Was that Weapon X, or what was that one where he has the hand missing where the claws come out of the stump?
Yeah, that one was creepy.
And then Superman, the guy that plays Superman.
That would have been an interesting universe to see.
Yeah.
If we had him as
he's got the body.
Wolverine.
He's got the body to be Wolverine. He's jacked. He's good. I mean, if they wanted to get somebody else to play Wolverine, that's a pretty good spot.
I mean, like, if you're looking for candidates for Wolverine, you got to get jacked. And you got to have the hair.
Yeah, and I mean, he looked good. What was the other one after that? Oh, we finally get the blue and yellow suit on screen, which there's actually a deleted scene from the Wolverine. At the very end, he's on a plane with, forgot the girl's name in the movie, but she's got red hair, and she was with him throughout the film. Mm-hmm. She hands him a briefcase. He opens it up. There's the blue and yellow mask.
Ooh.
Or maybe it was black and yellow, but whatever, it had yellow. And, like, the gloves, the suits all in there. It's a deleted scene. They should have left it in.
Yeah.
But
so let me ask you this. What's your favorite Wolverine? Because we've seen a lot of different versions come to screen. There's been many more in the comic books. What is your favorite?
Are we talking just in film?
No, just in general. If you had to pick, like, your favorite version of Wolverine, his favorite outfit, what would you pick?
For the longest time, my favorite suit has always been the brown suit. It was just something about the way it was illustrated and the way it was pinned in a comic. I mean, I love the blue and yellow, especially 90s X-Men cartoon show blue and yellow.
Right.
Like, it's classic. But for whatever reason, that brown suit, I don't know if it was like the different line designs of how the chest look and the mask, just something about that suit just resonated with me. And that one stood out the most. And then, of course, blue and yellow kind of fell second to that. And I think I'm still there today. I mean, seeing blue and yellow on the big screen kind of made me think, oh, that's really good. But the brown one's kind of been my favorite.
And, one thing that I've noticed with you really enjoy the attention to details on the costumes. Like, and anything that we're watching, like, you appreciate when it's depicted the way it should be. I know you felt that way similarly in, like, Power Rangers and things like that. It makes a big difference when those suits are on point.
Oh, absolutely. And it's funny you say that about Power Rangers, because one specific, like the green Mighty Morphin Ranger, Tommy, anytime they put out toys, and unless it's a company that's specifically paying attention to detail, they always forget Tommy had a gold morpher. Everybody else had silver. He had gold. The only time he had a silver was in the movie. And so I do really appreciate attention to detail. And the thing is, it took them 24 years to get that blue and yellow on screen, because for a long time, it wasn't cool to wear super suits.
I know.
They were trying to make things more realistic and, kind of grounded. And, after 2008's Dark Knight, that really solidified. Everybody's like, oh, we got to do these gritty, real lifestyle, not flashy comic book style. And it wasn't until Marvel Cinematic Universe kind of brought that back. It's like, it's okay to wear a super suit.
Well, I mean, and let's be honest. They fired Edna. They told her no more super suits, no more capes. What else was she supposed to do with her time?
That's a reference to Incredibles, and almost didn't pick up on it because I was like, who the hell is Edna?
I mean, if we're going to be talking about super suits, you've got to be up to date with your Incredibles lore.
Where's my super suit?
I said no capes. That's a great movie. I'm still a sucker for, like, a good Disney Pixar movie. Like, they have some good comedy.
All right, so we got Deadpool, Wolverine. Out of the last 5-6 Marvel movies that you've seen, where does it rank? Do you put Deadpool, Wolverine at the tippy top? Do you put it at the bottom? Where are we at?
I think for me it's at the tippy top. And, I think that speaks a lot about the film itself. But I also think it speaks a lot about where Marvel has been lately. I feel like we've been on a decline, and I feel like they try and like copy and paste, and they want to have like the same formula of humor, which, yes, Deadpool is a humorous, like it's a funny movie, but that was Deadpool's character. Yeah. Like, I don't need to see characters who are historically serious in comic books, crack one-liners the whole movie.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that's one thing that's driven me crazy. And I feel like because they had that one hit where the comedy worked, and they're like, we're sticking with it. We're not changing it.
Everybody's got to have a quip.
Right. And so I think that the past handful of Marvel movies I've seen have been almost like indistinguishable. Like, there's not a whole lot that makes me like one more than the other, because they seem so just a continuation of the same thing. And to me, while, Deadpool and Wolverine was obviously a funny movie, it was its own thing.
And then finally getting the freaking mask on his face.
Yeah, I know that was a big payoff at the end. I mean, I really enjoyed it. I think that the humor was good in it. Can't tell you how many times I just lost it in the theater.
Dude, I was cracking up from the time the movie started. It was ridiculous. Like, I couldn't help it. I was just laughing from the time it started to the time it ended. Mm-hmm. And it was really funny seeing... I don't like Chris Evans. I'm sorry. I don't like Chris Evans. I never liked him as Captain America. I mean, there's times his movies were good. Like, The Winter Soldier is just a good movie.
Right.
And I just didn't care for him. He just didn't feel like Captain America for me. I read a lot of the books with Captain America in it, and I feel like Captain America should have been a little bit older. Yeah. I understand him, casting young to try and, keep him in a bunch of movies or whatever. But he just needed to be like kind of close to Robert Downey Jr.'s kind of age. I don't know. He just... Maybe his voice sounded too young. Maybe if he had a deeper voice, Captain America I would have been okay with it. But his casting, like when he was Johnny Storm, and he's Johnny Storm again in Deadpool Wolverine, that kind of makes sense. He's always kind of seemed like, kind of a
young hot-headed kid. Yeah,
like that. So whenever I heard him cast him as Captain America, I was like, ugh. But, can't change that now. That's not the point.
But speaking of Robert Downey Jr., how do you feel about the new announcement with him being Dr. Doom?
It's like everybody thought he was done with Marvel, and, either that or taking a break or something. And next thing you know, he's popping his mask off, and now he's Dr. Doom. And what we understand, or from what I understand, and everybody said online, is it's not like a Tony Stark variant Dr. Doom. Because they had an alternate storyline where there's like Iron Man becomes Dr. Doom in some alternate story. But this is actually Victor Von Doom. So I don't know if what's going to happen is like, what if Spider-Man and the rest of the Avengers see Dr. Doom without his mask on? Are we going to have him in his mask the whole time?
That's a really good point.
Because they're going to have to see his face eventually.
Unless they just kind of ignore it and just gloss over it and don't mention it. But I have a question.
Okay.
So all I know about Dr. Doom is literally from the Fantastic Four movie. Like, that's it. I don't know
2004 or 5, whatever it was.
I mean, you grew up reading comic books and things like that. I didn't. I know a lot because me and you talk about him a lot. But that's also not been a series that's really been on our radar. Who's Dr. Doom?
Dr. Doom is the main villain from Fantastic Four. So in their story, the 5 of them go up. Mm-hmm. And something happens where they get like radiation from space, or there's an explosion of something. There's some critical moment that happens when they all go up. Whenever they come back, that's when things start to change. They kind of figure out who they are. And I think the original, the 04 movie or whatever it was, did the story. And I think the original comics, like going back to 62 or whenever it came out, I think that's the same storyline. For the most part, they go into space and they come back and things start changing. Dr. Doom is out of the 5. It could have been Fantastic 5, but he didn't want to be a superhero. And I can't remember exactly if that was because I can't remember if something happened to him, or like maybe the poisoning did something to his brain, or maybe I'm just making that up. Maybe that's like my brain's filling in gaps. But Victor Von Doom becomes one of the most interesting villains in the Marvel comics universe. He's up there intellect wise. I think he's up there with Ultron.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's very smart.
So is his superpower like a super brain? Is he
No, I don't think it's that. I think
a mega mind kind of thing?
No, I don't think it's that. What is his exact power? You know what? We have internet.
We do have internet.
Let's just do that.
So today's episode is sponsored by Dumpco. Dumpco just came out with its latest product, the Lady Business. And I, for one, love it. I recommend that everyone go out and get a Lady Business because I know as a lady on the go and as a woman in the workplace, sometimes a lady business is what you need. So go to Dumpco's website, www.dumpco.com, and look at the newest lady business that they have put out, and I promise that you won't be disappointed. Now, back to our episode.
Oh, don't forget, use checkout code DUMP.
Oh, yeah, can't forget the checkout code. What do they get with that checkout code?
They're going to get charged an extra 15%.
Oh, I don't know about you, but I'm going to use the code DUMP.
Oh, I love a good price gouge. So Dr. Doom's abilities are listed as genius level intellect, mastery of dark magic, mind transference, technopathy, expert hand-to-hand combat, powered armor grants superhuman strength and durability, flight, force field generation, gauntlet lasers and force blasts, various hidden gadgets and high-tech weapons, and a microwave.
What? And a microwave?
I guess for, burritos.
That's what I'm thinking. Him and Deadpool need to team up. Have all the chimichangas they want. How do you say it? Is it chimichanga or chimichanga?
It depends on what side of the Alabama you're on.
Not what side of the U.S. What side of the Alabama you're on.
Yeah. Most people like to measure it by Mississippi. Mm-hmm. But if you were actually raised in Mississippi, Mississippians hate that.
So you're trying to be non-offensive with the term of Alabama.
I'm trying to raise awareness for Mississippi.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they hate it when people are like, this side of the Mississippi. They're like, no, let's leave us alone. It's always, in Mississippi, it's always been Alabama. Everywhere else, people are like, I'm on this side of the Mississippi. Mississippi
I see.
Yeah, they can't stand that down there in Mississippi. You say that, you are probably going to get your head knocked off.
So, what you're saying, what I'm hearing you tell me, I need to go down to a 7-Eleven in Mississippi and say that I'm on the wrong side of the Mississippi.
If you want to die.
Thought that was Memphis. Are you getting the two confused?
Memphis is in Tennessee.
Yeah, I know. But people will die in Memphis. High
you can
crime
die
rate.
Anywhere.
I know. I'm talking about the crime rate.
It's pretty high in Memphis.
What's the crime rate in Mississippi?
Worse.
How do you know?
All the people in Memphis went to Mississippi.
How many people? How many people have you talked to possibly know that?
The population of Memphis is the population of Mississippi.
All the math you need.
It's a tough state. I tried running for governor.
Somehow I don't peg you as the governor type.
Of Mississippi?
Just in general.
So I've got a chance in another state?
So you're saying there's a chance.
So the best thing you can honestly just do is just stay out of Mississippi. Just leave them alone. Mississippians need their space. They need time to recover from, their attacks. And, let's send prayers to Mississippi.
Okay.
All right. So we talked about Robert Downey Jr. All right. We got RDJ back in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Eventually, at some point, if his mask is off and it's in current day timeline, because I know the Fantastic Four movie is actually not set in current day. It's actually set back in the 50s?
I don't know. No, I haven't seen the trailer.
It was actually at San Diego Comic-Con or whatever it is. They had a trailer for the new Fantastic Four movie, and it's set back in the 1950s. So if Dr. Doom is in the 50s, I wonder if he uses something to transport to the future, or he's just older. I don't know. Let's wildly speculate on that. What do you think is going to happen? How do we get RDJ's Dr. Doom Is he just going to be in that Fantastic Four movie?
I would think.
But no, wait, he's not, because Avengers Doomsday. He's going to fight the Avengers. I just remembered that.
Is he really?
They named a movie Avengers Doomsday.
So then how do we get from the 50s to now?
That's right. That's what I'm thinking. How do we get there?
You don't think maybe in, like, the one that's set in the 50s, they'll have, like, a younger version and then have him be the Doctor Doom of today's time?
I thought of something.
Okay, what'd you think of?
This is just a wild speculation. That's what we're doing. The Fantastic Four movie starts with Robert Downey Jr. as Doctor Doom and the team, before he's officially labeled Doctor Doom.
Okay.
They go into space. Something happens. He gets, like, knocked into, like, a time warp, and he's only in it for a few minutes.
Oh.
So, like, or however long it takes for them to get to space.
And that's an interesting concept.
And he disappears and they lose him.
Yeah, like we've seen stuff like that before, like in The Flash and stuff like that.
Yeah, because we don't know how this Fantastic Four movie, is it anchored around them fighting Doom? Or is this about we meet Victor Von Doom and the Fantastic Four, we lose him in space, and then they have a Fantastic Four movie without him, and at the end it's like, Doctor Doom will return. One of those things.
Right. Where it's just kind of a pop-up and a blip, and then he gets his own movie that's back in the 50s.
He could potentially be in it for the first 30, 45 minutes of the film, and then he disappear. All right, that was my idea of how they get him, because they got to get into Avengers Doomsday, and he's going to make his debut in Fantastic Four, because that's his origin story. What's your thoughts?
My thoughts are that they're just going to throw him in with no explanation as far as to why he's the same as RDJ. Like, I feel like they're just...
Well, hold on, let me ask a question to that. Are you saying he's not in the Fantastic Four movie?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that he'll have the origin story, with the Fantastic Four, and then they're going to cross them over with the Avengers, and they're not going to mention that he looks like Iron Man. They're just going to gloss over it.
Okay, so just to recap here, we're going to the 1950s Fantastic Four. We're meeting Doctor Doom. He gets his powers. He's in their movie.
Right.
And then we get to Avengers Doomsday, set in current day timeline. And they're not going to explain how and why he's here. Just that he's been hanging out for all those years and not doing nothing.
Yeah, I guess I missed the boat on that piece of it a little bit. I was still more preoccupied with the fact that he's also Iron Man and how they were going to pull that off. But, yeah, I'm going to say...
We got to get him from 1950 to up here Avengers Doomsday, but he hasn't affected any part of the timeline so far. So where's he been this whole time?
I'm going to say that they have some crazy space experiment. Okay, so I'm thinking they go into space. Dr. Doom's trying to create some sort of weird wormhole to, do general evil doing. And he rips a hole in the multiverse. And boom, Avengers.
Yeah, okay. So he just rips a hole in the multiverse and immediately, bam, bada boom, we're there?
Yeah, bada boom. He rips it up. It starts fucking shit up over in their neck of the woods.
So from the perspective of so this happens inside of the Fantastic Four movie?
That's where it ends. He is one Fantastic Four defeated. He has made his machine, made it off into space or whatever. I don't know.
So that's how their movie...
That's how it ends. Okay. And then the Avengers Doomsday picks up with him ripping into their universe.
Okay. There's another idea I just had.
Okay.
We're speculating wildly, so let's do this. You go through the movie.
Mm-hmm.
They all get their powers. We start getting Victor Von Doom turning evil. He's doing his bad guy thing. Bada boom, getting to the end of the movie. And maybe we kind of have... maybe, I don't know if there's a final boss fight, but something where, Dr. Doom goes off somewhere, and at the end, looks like Fantastic Four wins. After credit scene, Loki shows up. Does Loki still have that cube? Because wasn't he messing around in one of the things? I haven't watched the Loki
Tesseract?
Show. Yeah, one of those.
Yeah, I've never seen the Loki shows. I think he still has it, because didn't he have it? He lost it. The Avengers got it. And then he took it back with his sneaky little tricks at some point.
That's what I thought too. I thought he did something sneaky, got it back, shows up.
He seems like a snake.
Timelines again, yeah, and maybe
probably did,
and maybe tries to get Dr. Doom in on something.
So you're thinking that Loki crosses over to Doom and recruits him and brings him back thinking he can control Doom?
I don't know about controlling Doom. But
Or like he can manipulate him into getting what Loki wants.
if it'll benefit Loki, probably.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
Yeah. Because I think Doctor Doom, in my opinion, would be smarter than Loki.
You think so?
Oh, yeah. I think Doctor Doom's... Like, Doctor Doom is one of those guys that... I know he's a bad guy, but I love him.
Yeah, but see, the thing with smart guys is, though, smart doesn't necessarily make you immune to deception. Like, because Loki's not, like, scientifically smart. Like, he's not, like, gonna go teach an algebra class anytime soon.
Well, you have to remember Doctor Doom has a mastery of magic. And Loki is all
using
about
dark
magic. That's why he's a very smart cat.
Ooh, so now I think we've opened up a very interesting can of worms. What if we had Loki versus Doctor Doom?
I gotta go Team Doom.
Team Doom?
Doom.
I don't know. I gotta go Team Loki. I feel like he's sneaky enough to make it work.
I think Doctor Doom is evil and smart enough to defeat a god.
You think so?
Yeah, I really do. And I never really read too many Fantastic Four comic books, but Doctor Doom, like whenever I've seen him in like big story crossovers, like versus the Avengers, or when he was in the 1996 Spider-Man cartoon show, like he had his own island, and like all the superheroes are gathered up there to like try and defeat Doom. Like Doom's one bad mother.
Ooh, so like the World Tournament in DBZ,
Yeah, kind of like.
but for superheroes.
Yeah, kind of like that.
Yeah.
Speaking of world tournaments, one of the biggest questions I always get asked is, you know what? What do I do whenever my tire explodes on the side of the road while I'm driving and I don't have a spare tire? What would you do?
You know, I would probably panic and call for help.
Exactly. That's why there's this brand new product, and I highly, highly recommend everyone get this. It's called the car grenade.
The car grenade? That sounds dangerous.
It absolutely is.
Oh, then why do I need to buy it?
So that way, whenever you blow a tire, you can't get home, you reach in the glove box, grenade.
Which solves my flat tire?
It would probably solve all of your problems.
Okay, I'm in. Where can I purchase one?
Well, have you ever been to Dick's Sporting Goods?
Absolutely.
They don't have them.
Oh. Well, where else can I purchase one?
Have you ever been to GameStop?
Oh, yeah, all the time.
Yeah, now you got to talk to a guy because GameStop doesn't sell them, but Fred, who works there, he sells them out the back.
Now, does every GameStop have a Fred, or is it a specific location?
Every GameStop has a Fred.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So just go into any GameStop, ask for Fred, and he can get me a car grenade.
Yes, but GameStop won't tell you that.
Okay. I'm sold.
Just final thoughts. Deadpool Wolverine, where does it rank on your all-time Marvel movie list? And that includes all the way back to the original Blade, to Avengers Infinity War.
Oh, see, now that made it harder. So I would definitely say top of all of Marvel post like 2010. But then if we throw like the Blades and all that in there, oh gosh. I don't know. I'd say probably you go first. You go first.
See, that it's hard whenever you bring it into when you go all the way back to Blade. You got the Punisher, X-Men, those Fantastic Fours were kind of like
Yeah,
they were
see,
there.
that's just so much to unpack because, like, definitely top one Marvel movie, I'd say, you know, post 2010. But when you look back at, like, the original start of Marvel and, you know, like you said, Blade and
You put
Punisher.
X-Men 1 up
yeah.
there, Spider-Man 1 up
That's
there.
a lot
Blade
to
1 up
contend
there.
against.
Those three right there, those three are probably 1, 2, 3 off of
Yeah.
the top 5. Deadpool Wolverine, I'd feel comfortable putting easily inside of a top 10, maybe top 5.
Yeah, and see, and I think to me there's a divide for the Marvel.
Like the Fox and the Disney.
Yeah, because I've always enjoyed DC more, but I enjoy it more because it's darker and grittier. And I feel like those original Marvel movies had more of that feel.
Yeah, when it was 20th Century Fox.
Yeah,
they
just
did.
a more realistic, and maybe not realistic's not the right word, but just a more human, darker aspect to it. And I enjoyed it.
Talk about darker aspect. Something people actually forget. The 2004 Punisher film, starring Thomas Jane, may not be people's favorite ones, but talk about dark. His entire family gets murdered at a family gathering. I mean, literally, it's not gory, it's not bloody. It's a time before that was in Marvel. So this is like, I think it was still rated R or close to it. I think it was R. And, I mean, his entire family gets gunned down. And then his wife and child get run over and killed.
Oh, my God.
In front of him. The opening, bit of Punisher 04 is crazy. And people forget, the body count. If you were to go back and count his family members, the wife and child, because people think, oh, his wife and child died. His entire family died that day.
That's insane. To just all of a sudden have no one.
Yeah. Can you imagine watching a Marvel movie nowadays? Everything's going okay, somebody said something funny, and then an entire family gets gunned down, and a wife and child get run over by a vehicle?
I mean, I think that would make anybody snap.
Oh, yeah. And
I mean...
And I really think Thomas Jane did great in that movie.
Mm-hmm. It was a good movie.
And you know what's funny? There's a lot of people that may not realize this, but there was a separate DVD release, which I don't think ever made Blu-ray, has an extended cut of the film where the plot holes are fixed.
Really?
04 Theatrical had a plot hole with his, I don't know if it was his chief or whoever it was that was over him, that was his buddy for all this time, that sold him out and caused his family to get killed, and a part of that. He kind of gets forgotten in the theatrical version, trying to slim it down to the main guy he's going after. Mm-hmm. But there's the theatrical version, Punisher shows up at his house and gives him a gun and tells him to put it in his mouth.
Oh my God.
Yeah, or, do it or I'll do it. And yeah, it's intense. If you can, I've still got a DVD copy of it in my collection. If you can find that cut, anybody who's never seen that cut, it's way better. They actually even added an animated unfinished. They never filmed it, so they made an animated intro where he's actually in Afghanistan and he saves his team. He was very selfless, and it added a little more to Frank Castle.
Yeah, and I think that right there is, I think, what separates those movies from the newer Marvel movies is the character development, in the sense of giving them somewhere passionate to come from. They have a backstory. You go into it connected to them. And I just don't get that. It's oh, hey, here's this new guy. Yeah, he's Captain America now. We're going to pull him in. Versus giving somebody a reason for what they're doing and making you have that emotional connection. Same reason I love a good anti-hero. Anytime somebody's got that troubled history and, it just brings so much more passion to it.
And I absolutely love Punisher. He's probably top 5 favorite superheroes of all time. And he's not even super. He's super to you. He's super to me. He lost everything. He lost his family, his wife, his son. And he don't pull his punches. And see, a lot of times, Captain America is always I'm doing the right thing for justice, and I'm going to make the best blah, blah, blah decision. Punisher's out there I'm coming for you. You do the wrong thing, that's the end of the line. Everybody else will be I'm putting you in jail. Punisher's I'm sending you to hell.
I mean, and once again, it's more realistic because, I'm sorry, whenever you've got not just bad guys in our world, yes, we can lock somebody up, but when you've got these superhuman villains, I'm sorry, I don't care how firm, that's not the word I'm looking for, how secure your prison is, you're not going to hold them, at least not for long. And so bringing that element of no, you don't get to go.
And the thing is, it's you stop repeat offenders that way.
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, they can't do it again.
No, they can't. And in the books, there's been a couple times where Punisher has had different things. There's the Ghost Rider version of Punisher, where he's in space, which is incredible. He raises a baby Thanos. If you've never read that.
Oh my God, that sounds nuts.
Oh, it's amazing. And it's one of the best storylines. It's one of the craziest versions of Frank Castle, but I love it. It is so. I think it's called what was it? I don't think it was simply named Space Ghost Rider or something, but it was
Oh, I hope it's called Space Ghost. That's a great name
Space
for
Ghost,
the
Coast
movie.
to Coast.
Yes.
Have you ever heard
What?
Coast to Coast?
No.
You don't know who Space Ghost is?
No, I don't know who Space Ghost is.
Okay, we'll have to discuss that next time. Space Ghost is a whole thing. He was a superhero that had his own talk show, and
From Boomerang?
was not Boomerang, Toonami.
Yes,
That's
Toonami.
Space
Oh my
Ghost.
god. You just pulled that like legitimately out of the back of my brain. Like
Space
that's
Ghost,
been
Coast to Coast.
okay. Yes, I'm with you now. I know
Yeah.
who we're talking about.
Okay. I was about to say, I haven't seen.
I don't know. Like I haven't thought about that in so long. Like the name Space Ghost didn't have the connection to that image anymore.
Yeah. Well, all right. What are we going to talk about on our other episodes? Today we talked about Deadpool and Wolverine. You want to tell them what our next topic is?
Yeah, I mean, I know we've got some really awesome topics that we want to get to share with you guys.
It's wrestling 90s to now.
Yep. So next week we're going to sit down and we're going to talk about probably, I think, our favorite era of wrestling.
The Attitude Era.
The Attitude Era and how it compares to where WWE is today in 2024.
And not just WWE. I thought we'd hit it all. Let's talk about WWE. Let's talk about WCW. Let's talk about ECW. Let's talk about TNA wrestling from 2005, 2002 to now. Mm-hmm. TNA wrestling was awesome back then.
Yeah, I mean, once again, it's two different eras. I mean, kind of like we're talking about with Marvel, you know? There's clearly a split. And yeah, we're a fan of the good old fashioned.
So next episode, we're going to talk about wrestling 90s to now. We'll do some more Marvel speculation. We like Marvel movies, so we'll have some more of that. And, thank you for coming in, Chubby Cheese.
Come by and see what's on special next week.
We'll see you fatties next time.
Looking round for a butt buffet.
I love food. I love eating food. Whether it's hot or it's cold, I'm in the mood.
Gotta get some right up in his boot. Right in the undercarriage, you know that looks cute.
I got stuff in my ass, that's true. It's not grass, it's fruit. I got a butt buffet.
He's got a butt buffet, like every day. He's got 2 apples and a motherfucking grape. Can I get maybe 1 orange? All I wanna know, what rhymes with orange?
Every single day I got a butt buffet.